Of course, right? See, this is why they love funding the police. This is why Joe Biden said he ain't gonna defund them, he gonna fund them because of this. They don't want us to protest against the State Department. See, when you protest against the State Department, you get surveilled on, or you be like Mahmoud Khalil and make an example out of. And this is why if you protest, cover your face. Whether it's a kafaya, a mask, it don't matter. Cover your damn face because these have lost their damn mind.
All right, what's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Good Faith Show. I'm your host, Andre, and the Good Faith Show is only exclusively on the ATP Network. You can catch the ATP Network on Twitter, YouTube, Rumble, and Twitch. And I have some shameless plugs for you, as I usually do. Follow the ATP Network crew. That's us right there. Follow the ATP Network official Twitter account, and I'm gonna start making sure that clips and when I go live like this be on there as well. Um, so yeah, follow us right there. If you're on Twitter, if you're not, this don't apply to you. And per usual, like the video. It's free and it don't cost you a damn thing. So I appreciate it. I know I be saying that a lot of my live streams is because the YouTube algorithm got us cooked. It's like they're saying belt to ass. YouTube algorithm belt to ass, basically. So yeah, like the video, guys. I appreciate you guys watching our stuff. I know there's a lot of other content creators that do this better than me, but I appreciate you watching my little irrelevant ass and our irrelevant asses. To be honest with you, um, some of the crew members are going through stuff, so that's why I've been holding it down for them until they able to do it. Like this shit ain't easy. Like see, y'all think, well, not you guys, but other people on here think we just grifting, we just doing this for the money. I'm not doing this for the money. I don't want to make money off this. If we get monetized, I told them the other people, I said I'm gonna split between y'all. Y'all can do whatever y'all want with it via AdSense. No advertisers and nothing like that because we independent media. So we real independent media. We're not fake independent media like Tim Pool and Ben Shapiro and um, Charlie Kirk and them other motherfuckers. They pretend to be independent media. They're not independent media. So yeah, that's that. Man, I got a lot of shit to talk about. Yeah, this is gonna be a long stream. I need to stream longer because I noticed the longer you stream, the more views you get. Unfortunately, they reward you for being on this motherfucker really 2 or 3 hours. To be honest with you, if you're on here for an hour, yeah, you ain't gonna get that many traction. So yeah, man. What I gotta talk about? Talk about the Cenk interview on Savvy Show. ALC potential presidential run in 2028. Oh God. um, we're gonna talk about the Carmelo Anthony family. The mom did a press conference. She was really upset, and I understand why because people in this world is evil. And then we're gonna talk about P. Hegself. We found out more information about Signalgate. Um, Luigi Mangione possibly faces the death penalty, which um, is yeah. That's I got a lot to say about that. And in China and U.S. tensions, the next Cold War. So yeah, I got a lot to talk about. Before I get to it, again, like the video, helps us out a lot. Donate to Liz's Thai Peasants Spot Fund to help her move to Ohio. The links are in the description if you're watching. Go on YouTube and Rumble. And yeah, so let's get to it. All right, guys. So the first thing I want to talk about is Sabi and Cenk Yuga of the Young Turks. Yeah, I'm really shocked that Cenk Yuga is willing to come on to Savvy show because I'm pretty sure Cenk knows at this point that Savvy is post duopoly and Cenk he still wants to work in the duopoly, but he wants to add populist candidates to the duopoly. And This is good. As much shit I give Jank and the others, the Kakalinskis, the Crystal Balls, I give them a lot of shit because I believe that they are bigger platforms than even Savvy or, me and other people. Like, I think they should do more non-politic related stuff like mutual aid and stuff like that, which they finna get to. Well, Savvy finna get to, but, this is a good step. I think the radical left, and as Jank call himself, since we gonna do the labels game, the centrist left, whatever the fuck that means, the center left. I think we need to have a talk. We need to discuss, what's the strategy. Obviously Jank wants to still continue to run through the Democratic Party. To be honest with you, and Sabby, on the other hand, is like me. Well, it's a third party, so yeah. This interview is long, but I'm going to skim through it because I'll be here all day talking about this. But it's funny that Jank is going on all these random platforms. He go on the right wing, he do go on the left wing platforms, and I got a conspiracy theory on why Jank does that. So yeah, without further ado, I'm finna get to this first part. I skipped over the question Sabby asked him at first. She asked him about the 2024 election, but this first part really, oh god, it irks my mind. But here we go. Finna play it.
With Trump, I was worried that we couldn't live to fight another day. I think the 2028 election is going to be the most important election of our lifetimes. And
Oh god, that right there already. Oh wow. Well, have we heard that before? Bernie Sanders said it. Other people have said it. Um, every election is the most important election of our lifetime. It's like even it's just like even coming from Jank. I mean, like, so I guess since the LC 2028 thing is ramping up and she's raising money, I guess that's I guess that's why it'll be the most important election of our lifetime, right? He didn't say it about he didn't talk about ALC, but I'm just saying, like, I'm pretty sure that's what a lot of I guess the Democrat left, because Democrats are not left, but the Democrats that want health care, which health care is a left issue, which it should be a left issue because everybody needs health care no matter which political spectrum you're on. Like a lot of these issues that we're fighting for, like shout out to that other guy on TikTok, like they are crumbs. They're the bare minimal. But yeah, like every election is not the most important election of our lifetime. But I let him continue a little bit, then I'm gonna skim through it because it's a long interview.
and people say that about every election, but I believe it. I think it's going
Yeah.
to be an absolutely pivotal turning point. And I wanted to get to that pivotal turning point. I want to get to 2028. And so Trump. So why did I think so negatively of Trump? Because he lost the election and didn't leave, and he came up with a fake elector plot, which we talked about a million times on the Young Turks, right? And so that is a real attempt at a coup in America. So I not gonna. That guy doesn't respect democracy or the Constitution. And then afterwards, he said, well, after he lost, that we should terminate the Constitution. A lot of the right wing had never even seen that quote, and so and I could go on and on, right? So is Trump what we expected? Yeah. And so I get why a lot of Democrats are confused because I was trying to push Biden out, and we've been trained as Democrats and on the left by MSNBC and other folks that if you're against Trump, then you have to be say the most wonderful things about the Democratic candidate, and you have to, and it doesn't matter. But if you just prop them up enough and you do enough.
Now I don't you know maybe Jack didn't do his research, or whoever works at the Young Turks, like they must have been he must have thought savvy before this interview, like based on what I hear at first when I first heard this whole interview myself. Maybe he thought that she was a Democrat that want healthcare too. Like that's what I got from it at first. Like like dude, like I can tell Savvy's being patient. Like shout out to Savvy. She got way more patience than I do. Like this is why obviously I know these people, aren't going to come on people like me and Rome because and Nick, you know, because we'll hold them to the fire. I mean, a more aggressively tone. Like Sabby hold them to the fire too, because later she said that you voted for Kamala Harris, which, yeah, but yeah, dude, like a lot of people have short term memories, Jank. Like people forget how bad Trump was in his first term. Like, yeah, people forget. Like that's nothing new about that. He acting like, yeah, and we knew that MSNBC was lying about Biden's cognitive decline. Like we know all this stuff. Like of course they gonna lie about it. Like MSNBC is the Biden defense network. Like just like Fox News is the Trump defense network. Like these two parties, they do the same thing. It's just one of them, use DEI and the other, are more out about they shit. That's the only difference. But let me continue.
Marketing and propaganda, our guys will win, right? So don't ever point out if they're got problems. But in this case, he couldn't speak. Our candidate couldn't talk. And you saw it at the debate, and all of the smart political professionals.
He said our candidate Sappy looking like ain't my goddamn candidate. Oh jeez, man. Oh, like bro, like Sappy is not what you think she is. I don't know what he thought. Like that's why I always say do your research, you know, because I got a couple of interviews to do this week, and I looked up these people, and they're good people. Like I make sure that they aren't Zionists or nothing like that, but they left wing, so that's dope. Oh man, like you could tell Jank didn't know who Sabby really was. Like Sabby's ideology, which is on the ground organizing, mutual aid, and third party. Like he thought that she was God. That's wild.
Professionals finally saw what I was talking about, not at the debate, but when Joe Biden refused to do the Super Bowl interview, right? That's when he lost Nate Silver and Ezra Klein and David Axelrod and Carville, because they know that if you can't do the Super Bowl interview, the softest interview and the one that has the biggest reach, that means you're not even running a campaign. So I was attacking Biden not because I'm against the Democratic Party, but because I wanted the Democratic Party to win by having a stronger candidate. So now once we lose, not only did we lose, unfortunately, as I said, we should have had an open convention. We should have had the strongest possible candidate. Instead, we always anoint, and then they anointed Kamala Harris, basically. And so we lost not only all 7 swing states, but we lost the popular vote. So now, having talked to a lot of these right-wingers in those debates and appearances, etc., I began to see something a little bit different than I expected. Well, in the past, when I talked to right-wingers on Fox News or anywhere else, they're just talking point machines, right? And so, tax cuts for the rich are great for the average guy. Helping giant corporations are great for small business. Whatever Mitch McConnell and, Heritage Foundation cooked up, they would just regurgitate, right? So now when I talk to them, that was still 70% of what folks are doing. But 30% was very different. Like, very, very anti-war when before the Republican.
Well, Jank, you gotta understand that that a lot of those people voted for Bernie Sanders, right? Like maybe you say to yourself, "Hey, these people like Bernie Sanders' policies," but because the DNC didn't want Bernie Sanders to be elected, they went with Trump, who they thought was anti-war. Turns out he's not. Like, yeah, Jank, congratulations! You discovered that a lot of people have things in common with you, even though they're not on the left. Hey, man, we need to get a big clap for Jank. But I think the problem with people have, the Francescas of the world, the people that were formerly TYT contributors, is that you own these extreme right wing shows. You're not holding their feet to the fire like you're supposed to. Like, but I think you don't. Like I said that before in a couple of other streams. But yeah, my guy. Now you realize that yeah, a lot of people agree with you. Yeah, like I don't mind people talking to the right. It's just who you talk to matters. Like you talk to Charlie Kirk, who is a white supremacist. Like yeah, that's yeah, like yeah, that's too far. Or Jason Whitlock, who's a coon. Yeah, it's too far.
Republican Party was very pro-war, right? Whether they mean it or not is really great and important open question. So, without getting into all of the details on all the policies, what I did after the election was, guys, if they're really anti-war,
And you know what, too? Before I let him continue for a few more minutes, then I'm gonna skip to the second question. It's like Jank, like a lot of people that voted for Trump agree with a lot of other things the left agree with: healthcare, a thriving wage, um, you know, um, housing for all, DEI. Like, yeah, a lot of people agree with that. It's just the problem is that when you so cooked into these parties push propaganda saying, oh, these marginalized people are the problem, or it's always shit like that, you know. So yeah, um, let me continue.
we need to build a coalition with them if Trump, for example, tries to attack Iran. And I know that Trump is going to be pushed to attack Iran because his largest donor is Miriam Adelson. And she wants us to attack Iran. She's a hard right wing Israeli American, but she seems to, in her donations and in her demands, care more about Israel. That's not true of normal Israeli Americans, or certainly not true of Jewish Americans, but it is true of her, right? And so I know, watch out, they're going to want to attack Iran. So if I can, and if all the left does is go, oh, we hate what Trump is doing, it doesn't move him an inch, not 1 inch. In fact, it might help him because he's like, look, we're owning the libs. If, on the other hand, he loses his base or a significant percentage of his voters, then he gets worried. So, for example, he said, we're going to take control of Gaza in the first meeting with Netanyahu, and we're going to do the unexploded bombs and clean that up for Israel, et cetera. And it looked like he was saying ground troops in Gaza. And he turned around on that in 24 hours. Why? Because his base revolted, not because the left revolted. That doesn't move him at all, right? So,
Well, I haven't really paid attention to that because I'm really not, worried about what Trump may do. But if that's true, then I say, yeah, that's based. Like, not every supporter of Trump is a racist. I mean, bigoted. I said that even back in 2016, 17, when I really didn't like Trump. Back then, I said not all Trump supporters are racist. And I used to be a Democrat. So yeah, yeah, but yeah, maybe Trump stopped talking about it, but he's still saying shit. And then he's still inviting Benjamin Netanyahu to the White House to talk about taking over Gaza still. So apparently it didn't have a major impact. You know what I mean? But oh god, let me continue.
his base was like, no, we're not doing ground troops in Gaza. I don't know what you're talking about, right? So he goes, no, I didn't mean that, right? But here come the donor class again. So Netanyahu shows up a little while ago, and they're back to talking about how we're going to control and own Gaza, right? So you've got to build that coalition to be able to effectively push back on that, to make sure that we don't get hurt more by the Trump administration, and to kind of open up their eyes to things that are happening, right? So when you only watch Fox News and you never watch any left-wing programming, we can't say to them, hey guys, remember how you were anti-war and you wanted to cut the Pentagon budget? You see how they actually added to the Pentagon budget? Because they were never going to hear you. But now if you go on Patrick Bet-David and Tim Pool and all these other different right-wing shows and independent shows, et cetera, and you go, hey guys, let's cut defense. And they go, yeah, let's cut defense, which by the way, they did. You can see videos from Patrick Bet-David, Tim Pool, and the other shows that I was on where they're like, you're right, we should cut defense. And then Patrick Bet-David, after I did that appearance, did this long video about how you could cut defense. And then now all of a sudden it goes to Laura Ingraham and it's on Fox News, et cetera. That doesn't mean that I think that they're actually going to cut defense. So when they actually added over $100 billion to defense, you could begin to see some portion of his voters on social media going,
I think one thing that Cenk is missing is like, yeah, like I guess you think you going on these right wing shows saying they should cut the defense budget, and then the right wing commentators agreeing with it. Yeah, I think that's a good thing. But the problem with that is that um, like you got to hold their feet to the fire, man. Like, yeah, one thing I said, hey, we need Medicare for all, but I'm not applying any action to to take the steps to apply pressure to the politicians. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, talking about is one thing, but we always talk about the problem. Yeah, you need to cut the Pentagon budget. That's the problem, but what are the solutions? Like, like man, Jake really think that what he's doing like is actually impacting shit. Like, bro, like, yeah, maybe you are to a certain extent. I'm not gonna completely crap on you, but maybe you are like open up people's minds a little bit. But again, bro, like, like talk is cheap. You got to do action. Like I'm just saying.
What what just happened? I thought we were cutting it. Why are we adding to it, right? So is that most of his voters? No. Is that some of his voters? Definitely. Is that the sum that we need to switch over to vote on our side or to just support us on those policies we agree on and to potentially move Trump? Yes. So
I'm glad you mentioned anti-war because I want to tell you what happened a couple years ago. I went to DC to cover a rally called the Rage Against the War Machine rally, and there were people there from different political ideologies. And I remember covering that, thinking to myself, looking around like, wow, look at all these people came together because they agree on this issue. There were people that were speaking there like Tulsi Gabbard, Dennis Kucinich, Jill Stein was one of the speakers. And I was like, wow, this is something. But then October 7th happened. And after October 7th, when Donald Trump started to smear Palestinians, I watched some of those same people make excuses for Donald Trump. And then all of a sudden, that so-called anti-war coalition that I believed we had at that point in time, it was gone because as we got into the electoral season, people went back into their political silos and started to defend their candidate. So the problem that I've noticed with this particular type of coalition building, and I'm a registered independent, by the way, is that once there is an election that is involved, people tend to side with their candidate, even when they're wrong. Now, to be fair, some of them have told me they do not appreciate what Trump is doing when it comes to Iran, when it comes to Gaza, but they don't regret, they're not at the point where they regret their vote. But I think that's where the coalition, to me, it falls apart because I see people still find ways to defend Donald Trump, just like I saw people try to find ways to defend Kamala Harris. So that's where I've seen it fall apart. And I felt like the anti-war part was a piece where you could get more people to come together. Same thing with healthcare. I had this conversation recently with Shermichael Singleton. He's conservative. Shermichael Singleton agreed with me on this show that the healthcare system we have in this country is a problem. However, he went on to say he doesn't think universal healthcare is going to be the answer. He doesn't agree with that. So I don't see them moving over to progressive positions. That's my thing.
yeah, Savvy, I actually totally agree with
Before I let him answer, yeah, I remember the Rage Against the War Machine. I really didn't say much about it. Maybe I should have spoke up saying, hey, it's like people gotta understand, especially people on the left. It's like you're always not going to have to agree with everything people do. Like a lot of people smeared it. A lot of people I know smeared it. A lot of people say, a comedian was there. A lot of people don't like. Tulsi Gabbard. A lot of people don't like. Because we've seen the shift of Tulsi Gabbard. Now she's in Trump's cabinet. Jill Stein was there, which was a positive. Um, was Medea Benjamin there? I remember Medea Benjamin was there too. But I don't think Cold Pink wanted her there because, obviously, um, a lot of reasons is probably the same way I said, but yeah, it was a good thing. It was a lot of people there, and I remember who smeared it? Somebody smeared it on MSNBC. Was it Joy Reid? Somebody smeared it. Like all this little rally here. I remember that shit. And then, like you said, yeah, October 7th happened. I think that happened the same year. Yeah, 2023. Um, I think, was that March 2023? And then I remember October 7th happened. And I remember Tulsi Gabbard um, said that Israel has the right to defend itself and other people. Yeah. And, yeah, like, the problem is consistency. My thing is, if you're going to coalition build with somebody, you like, it's going to have to take it had to take effort. I don't think people will actually agree with you at first. Like, you know, yeah, like a right winger will agree with me saying, yeah, the Pentagon budget need to be cut. But again, they probably won't agree with me that take that money from the Pentagon budget and build housing. They probably have this thing of where, like, hey, the people that don't have a house are homeless. They need to pull themselves about a bootstrap. Yeah, it's to me it's consistency. And I see a lot of consistencies with a lot of people. So I get what Sabby was saying, but let me let Cenk answer this, respond to this in his long-winded way.
With you, and and I get what you're saying, but I want you to have a bigger picture context. So what you did in that conversation about healthcare, and what I'm trying to do in all the conversations I'm having, is the very beginning of this, right? So for years and maybe decades, we've just been yelling at each other, right? And by the way, I'm totally guilty of that. I mean, I'm so I do tend to yell from time to time on air, right, and online. So it's not like I didn't do it. I definitely did, right? And so and that worked to win over the middle for some period of time. But now that's not working at all in terms of winning over the middle. And these conversations are. But Trump, we're 3 months into his term. If anyone thought, like, oh, magically, some percentage of Trump's voters, let alone all of his voters, but like a big chunk, 20, 30%, overnight are going to be like, oh, I was such an idiot for voting for Trump. No way. I'm not for universal health care. I'm actually for anti-war.
Yeah, Cenk, it's called education. You got to educate people. Like, like, like when a lot of people say that, hey, we need to start talking to our neighbors. Or a lot of our neighbors don't agree with what we say. Like at first, like they have to, like, over time they have to build on them, and hopefully they'll get it. Like, yeah. It's gonna take time, but let me continue.
I don't want the rich getting taxes. I don't want this, blah, 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 blah. Come on. Of course, that's not going to happen in this tiny period of time. Savvy, what you and I have to do, what so many other people have to do, and what you're already doing, is continue to have those conversations and to actually engage in, I know it sounds cliched and people think it's not real, but I think it is real, especially online now. And it's not a perfect system at all, but there is an actual marketplace of ideas. And so if you don't,
I'm going to insert this little, cliff note, as they say. I think sometimes we can be online. I think we are too online pilled. I think, some idiot on Twitter, for example, or something like that says something that's outrageous, and I think that we over exaggerate it. Like, online is real life. Like a lot of people say, online isn't real life. It is real life, but I think the problem is that a lot of people online are kind of like just, y'all know what I'm saying. Like they just throw shit at the wall and see if it sticks, like, kind of thing. Like, I think building a coalition online, it ain't working. Like, online should be a tool of education. I think in order for things to really change, you have to hit the ground running, man. Like, at first I kind of like, maybe, you give online a chance, but, even my experience, like the last 2.5 years, like, yeah, I ain't cutting it out. So yeah, like talking to your coworkers at work, or talking to your neighbors, like, get to know your neighbors. Like, that's majorly important. Like, you never know, you might need your neighbor for something important. Like, but I let them continue. Like, I just threw that in because I don't know. I think, like, online is really kind of like a secondary option in my eyes.
engage in that marketplace, you're never going to win eventually, right? But if we engage today and we keep making our case, by the time 2028 rolls around, yes, we can win a certain percentage of those folks. And for the ones that did vote for Trump that are either independents or right wing, what I would say to them is, guys, we're not trying to trick you. We're trying to show you that they've been trying to trick you. So if they actually cut the Pentagon, great. Then you got what you wanted, right? If they don't attack Iran, great, right? If they actually deliver for the average man, great, no problem. Then you were right and we were wrong, right? But what I'm trying to lay out to them, and it sounds like you're doing something similar in some ways, is that, but when they don't deliver for you, remember what we told you, right? Remember that we were both anti-war. We both wanted better health care. We both wanted better wages. So they said, give it to the rich, et cetera, and that didn't work, did it, right? So why don't you try the populist left that actually has in some issues has the same goal as you, but actually will deliver for the average guy instead of for Donald Trump and his billionaire buddies. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I agree with that. But it's like, I think that also too, I like to add on to it, is that you do mutual aid. You not only just talk to them, you do mutual aid. Like, people, like when you do stuff with people, I learned something too. Um, People will tend to listen to you better. Like, you see somebody on the street working hard, or you see somebody on the street homeless. You know, you may buy them some food, or you slide them some money. $5 or $10 or whatever you have, and you talk to them about the system or whatnot. Most likely, they're more likely engage with you better. Like, say talked about that in a few minutes, but um, so yeah, that's
Billionaire buddies. You see what I'm saying?
But what about when it comes to some of the social issues? For example, Charlie Kirk, and he's not the only one, but he's the easiest one for me to call out at this point in time. Charlie Kirk has been smearing MLK of all people. Charlie Kirk said that he wouldn't feel comfortable with a black female pilot. So when we talk about building coalitions, we also do have to remember that those spaces need to be comfortable spaces for people that are from marginalized communities as well. And I personally would not feel comfortable building a coalition with someone out there smearing MLK and saying all these things about Black people, all these negative things about Black people. So I think that's where a lot of the pushback comes from, Cenk. I think that's why some people are saying, what is Cenk Uygur thinking about? There's no way I'm going to try to organize with this person. They don't even respect me as an individual. I mean, what do you say to that? Like, how do you expect marginalized people to feel?
Great. That right there is the main part of this video. It's like, yeah, bro, that's like, nobody have no problem with you talking to people on the right. It's just that when people say shit like that, they don't feel comfortable around black pilots and smear MLK. I got MLK right behind me right here. Like, you smearing one of our revolutionary leaders, and you want me to coalesce bill with that piece of crap? Come on, man. Hell no. That's like talking to a damn Zionist or something. You think I'm gonna talk to a Zionist that said it's cool to murder innocent Palestinian women and children? Like, or you want me to talk to a racist that don't like my black ass? But I should coalesce bill with them. Mr. White Sheet. Come on, bro. Like, that's why TYT is suffering, because you're taking an approach of, yeah, like, even though this person is a racist, we should talk to that racist. Like, no, dude. Like that's why it's called a safe space. Like, if you're gonna coalition bill, which I don't have no problem talking to right people, right wingers, it's just as long as they, as long as they respect me, I respect them. You see what I'm saying? Like, yeah, that's the problem. And Jack gives a weird, funky answer here. It's kind of wishy-washy, but here we go.
Yeah. So I think the word you use there is critical, which is comfortable, right? They're uncomfortable in those spaces. Okay, no problem. I get that. And it's not for everybody. then let me do it. But please try not to tear me down while I'm doing the uncomfortable thing that I think might help, right?
But Jank, you're not getting it. Like you do it, yeah, okay, you do it, it's fine. But people aren't necessarily tearing you down, man. It's just people just criticizing you, like critiquing your strategy. So what? Oh, you talking to a white supremacist, Charlie Kirk, and is making you look like a fool. That's talking. That's tearing you down. Like what? That's wild, man. That is wild. Like, nah, dude. Nah, I don't buy that. Like nobody's tearing you down. Like, really, actually, you tearing your own self down. But I let it continue.
So let me give you an example from my background so you know what I'm talking about. So if I go on Steve Bannon's show, and let's say that we agree on private equity companies shouldn't be able to buy our homes because it drives up housing prices, they're going to turn us all into renters eventually, and we're going to be indentured servants of the corporate class, right? And if it turns out Bannon agrees with that, I am not sure that he does, but he might. And Charlie Kirk says that he agrees with that and has pushed it on his show. But I know Steve Bannon is viciously against immigrants, and I'm an immigrant. And in the past, he's been viciously anti-Muslim, and I'm Muslim, right? Muslim background. So if somebody else who's in the same category as I am, immigrant, Muslim, says, I don't want to talk to Steve Bannon, that makes me uncomfortable. And I don't want to be in a coalition with him. I think he's really a harmful person, a terrible person, etc. Okay, no, I'm not going to push you to do that. God bless. I totally get it, right? But if I can get that thing done, whatever it might be that's positive anti.
But you know what? I'm gonna skip this. But he rambling on. But if you can convince them that your hatred towards Muslims or your hatred towards black people is bad, then I'm like, okay, like that's a step, but like they have to be willing to change. Like I just, that's I think that's what he think. Like the radical left is tearing him down because he's talking to people that don't like marginalized people, which is not true. Um, yeah, like again, like yeah, me and the Zionists probably agree on something, but I mean, we don't agree on shit. Like a Zionist is diabolical people, but I'm just saying because like you can agree on stuff, but again, if you have hatred feelings towards somebody else, it's not going to make me comfortable. It's kind of like being at a Ku Klux Klan rally, and I'm the only black guy there, and a whole bunch of I know crackers and sheets looking at me, really ready to hang me on a tree limb. So yeah, but I'm finna skip ahead a little. Okay, so here is about TYT, which I expect Sabby to ask this question to him. This is very important, and watch his answer here. I ain't gonna say nothing for a few minutes.
So people are saying that TYT has changed. I mean, when I first started watching TYT, it was the home of progressives. I understand some of this. Some people believe that this is a business decision that you have made because I think we both know that there is more leverage, and YouTube highly promotes right-wing commentary over left commentary. Some people have that opinion. One of the things that I said is that it sounds like to me that Cenk and Anna have decided that they need to try to get some type of a win, because it's been almost 10 years now since the first Bernie Sanders presidential campaign. But a number of things have happened. I want to give you a chance to respond to this. Some of the co-hosts or contributors of TYT have left TYT. I know that Francesca recently was fired. And I'm noticing a little bit of a pattern. This is something similar to what I saw with the Hill Rising, where Kim Iverson was there. Well, first Crystal and Sagar left, then Ryan Grimm came, then Kim Iverson came, Brianna Joy Gray came, Katie Halper was a contributor, and all of them are gone, right? They didn't want Kim there because of the pandemic conversation with Fauci. They didn't want Katie Halper there because of her commentary on Israel. Brianna Joy Gray got fired because of Israel. And now I look at Rising today and I'm like, wow, they really got rid of a lot of the good talent. What is happening there with TYT? Has TYT changed its values?
No.
Yeah, I heard what you said right there. Yes, TYT has changed its values. TYT supposedly supposed to be Rebel HQ, home of the progressives. You know, um, I started watching TYT mainly after um, the Bernie campaign in 2016, when Bernie dropped out. Well, Bernie really forced the hand because he was a cook, and well, no, to be honest with you, I started watching TYT during the Bernie Sanders era, but I didn't get into it early. You know, yeah, um, this is what I believe. I appreciate. I know Cenk is gonna deny it, obviously, of course, right? Like, I believe that TYT has shifted towards the right because they see money on the right, and Savvy is right. YouTube does promote right wing content. They do, like, um, like the ATP network. Like YouTube is not pushing that shit out at all. Like, if it wasn't for JB pushing us out a little bit and other people, like, we probably wouldn't even have 1,000 subs on YouTube, you know, because they don't like our content. They like right wing content. But Jank finna get to why, um, what the real reason YouTube is. It's easy for somebody with 6 million subscribers to talk about, oh no, YouTube is not suppressing us. It's just, it's this and that. No, bro. Like, my numbers don't lie, bro. Numbers don't lie. But I'm gonna let Jank get to it. Here we go.
No, not at all. So there's a number of things in there that are I don't think are quite right in the assumptions that you put in there. So let me address it one by one. First of all, this I get why people think, hey, are you guys doing it for? Is there a right wing turn, and is it for financial reasons?
And also too, Anna left the left, right? So yeah, that then Anna leaves the left. She's on these right wing podcasts. You're on these right wing podcasts. You're smearing the radical left. Um, I mean, like, come on, bro. Like, of course, people gonna think that TYT is changing. Yeah, you're talking about Trump. I mean, you say you don't like Trump. Like, a lot of people that are right wing coded or right wing pill don't like Trump. I mean, it is what it is. But like, I forgot to add that too as well. Like, yeah, bro. Like, um, Anna really doesn't look happy there. I mean, she like y'all got Poly Market Studios, and I don't see her. I don't see her there with you during the shows. Like, but I see her on these other shows and stuff like it. Yeah, but he gives a botulant answer. Like, I mean, I guess you expect him to do this. I mean, it kind of do make sense. Like, like, why would he say, um, yeah, we switched to the right because of money? Like, no. But I let him continue.
Well, and why do people think that? Because other people have done it, and then they've gotten rewarded, like Dave Rubin, with tons of money, showered from the right wing, etc. But except in our case, that's not true at all. Because we haven't made the right wing turn, so there's nothing to shower, right? So, like, if you watch our videos or our live show, which, by the way, every day, Monday through Friday, 6 to 8 o'clock, you can see it with your own eyes. And if you see us being like right wing, you could be like, aha, I knew it. There it is, right? They're telling me how wonderful Donald Trump is on tax cuts for the rich or whatever lunatic thing he came up with yesterday, right? Or if you see it and you go, wait a minute, these guys are saying the same thing they said before. Anyway, you'll get to see it with your own eyes. It's on every day on YouTube at 6 o'clock Eastern, right? And so that's not true. And then in terms of did we do it for attention or money, etc.? No, and we knew this because we're professionals. We know the algorithms, right? So no, we knew that it might hurt us, and it did. On the main channel, our views are way down, and so our opponents can celebrate that. Woohoo!
Yeah, you did that to yourself. Now, that's not YouTube's fault. Like, you in the corporate YouTube algorithm. That's why I say you could talk. Like, Sabby is not. I'm not. RBN is not. Like, we nowhere near the corporate algorithm. But yeah, you did that to yourself, and you're not the only one that a lot of people left. What the other guy named? The other Democrat that be on YouTube. He got a lot of subscribers too. People left him after the election. I think because people see that what you guys are saying is hogwash. like like TYT. Um, damn, I forgot that dude's name. God, my brain is cooked. Um, these other big YouTube, we can say bread tubers, like y'all been feeding y'all audience MSNBC like talking points for a long time, and now people are starting to realize that, hey man, this is full of shit. Like y'all said, Kamala's gonna win, and then she lose bad. To be honest with you, like if you don't win every swing state, like yeah, you done. Um, and then now the people that was loyal to TYT seeing that you're pivoting to the right by smearing left wingers. I mean, I can't believe I'm saying left wing, the left. Like, dude, like of course people's leaving. Like he admitted it. Like even hey, our views are down because of YouTube, even though YouTube is not suppressing us. Like, which one is it, Cenk? Like, you confusing me. Like, I'm autistic, dude. Like, come on, man. Like, which one is it? Either they're suppressing you or they're not suppressing you. Like, what the fuck? But, well, I let them continue.
Ooh, yay, we got them, etc. And so, but you can't say, hey, we got them, and they've lost a lot of money here, and they did it for the money. Those two things are not consistent. They just aren't. So pick one, okay? But
I mean, like, TYT got 75 people working for him, which I think is excessive if you're independent media. I mean, you have people working for you, but 75 people you gotta pay for? Like yeah. And then, you know, like TYT is not independent media. Like they're corporate media. Like once you have advertisers and investors like the Katzenberg Cash and the Peter Thiel Cash, like yeah, you're not like you're influenced. Did Polymarket, yeah, Polymarket, Peter Thiel, but yeah, like yeah, Jack is like getting it. He think that people hates TYT, hates him, for talking to the right and the left. It's full of purity tests, which yeah, the left sometimes do purity tests, especially on Twitter, which that's why I said I don't trust online. Like yeah, but I let him continue.
you can't have both. So there's no extra money at all, and there is no right-wing shift. At the same time, and by the way, let me, and so I'll get to what I think people think are the shift in a second. But in terms of what you said about YouTube favors right-wing content and stuff, it doesn't. In my opinion, it rewards, we know this, like anybody on YouTube knows this, it rewards quote unquote consistency, right? And what consistency means is just give them what they want and don't give them anything else. And what I have a different word for that is called extremism, right? So our side says, okay, never give an inch, because the algorithm rewards consistency / extremism, right? So we're right about everything. And
So basically, you saying that the algorithm rewards you if you kiss the ring of the Republicans and you kiss the ring of Democrats. I mean, that's basically what I articulate from that. Which I mean, that's your opinion. Everybody has a time to opinion, but yeah, like I mean, if you're on the right, like YouTube pivots to that, it does. Can't deny it.
and whatever is the outer edge of the left or the right, and it applies equally to both sides, right? Give them the outer edge, because that's what people want. And if anybody varies from that, attack, right? The others do. And so if you're not perfectly consistent, you'll get hurt. But we took that risk anyway. And so I'll get to what does it mean to not be consistent in what we were doing before in a second. But you see channels that go, yeah, the Democrats are great. They're the greatest thing ever. Donald Trump's the most evil thing, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Those are actually now getting massive views, massive. That's actually going for the money. That no nuance, no nothing. I don't care about policy. Rah Democrats, no matter how corporate they are, no matter how much they never deliver for you, those folks don't care about policy. They care about how do I get views and how do I get money, right? So, and look, I'm not hating. Everybody's doing their own thing. And the same is true of the radical right. They've actually been doing it longer, in a sense, on YouTube. That's why it appears that there's all these big shows that are on the right wing, but they're consistently going more and more radical, and their algorithm is rewarding them. So it's rewarding radicalism on both sides. And it's not rewarding any moderation at all. So,
but Jack, Democrats are not the left, bro. Democrats are not the left. It's not rewarding the far left, as you put it, like me and Sabby and RBN and other little YouTube channels. Like, it's not rewarding us. It's not rewarding us at all, dude. If I was kissing the ring of Kamala Harris and Jasmine Crockett and the Democratic Party all day long, like, I'm pretty sure we'll get decent views. But I chose to have principles. I chose to have morals, even though, you know, we will suffer for a while. And then, not the fault of YouTube. I got a copyright strike last year on my shit because I should have known better. It was my fault. And I heard that once you get a copyright strike, YouTube really screws you over. So, yeah. But, again, like, I disagree, bro. Like, oh God, like, but I'm gonna skip to the next.
Democratic Party. I personally, because of the big money interest, I don't believe the Democratic Party can change. I supported Bernie twice, both times. I supported the squad. They let me down tremendously when it came to certain pieces of legislation that they either supported or they should have supported and they did not. I'm very upset with the fact that Bernie Sanders still won't call what's happening in Gaza genocide. I was upset with AOC saying that Kamala Harris is working tirelessly for a ceasefire. There are a number of issues. I know you said you want to build a coalition with people on the right that agree with you on certain issues, but I have to ask, it seems like you're not willing to build a coalition with people to your left, right? So I think I'm to your.
He gonna shake his head. I like Jake be making them faces and shit. Like, Jake is a damn meme. But anyway, yeah, Jake, like Jake, like, you can deny it all you want, bro, but we seen those videos you smearing the far left because I guess we don't kiss the ring, because you like you said, you started this, left independent media space, which is true, but you didn't continue to mental. Like, I get it. It's a lot of things that you could have done better. I think, I disagree with your strategy of still running to the Democratic Party, which you about to get to. I probably ain't gonna get to that part because I'm almost an hour into this, which is crazy. But yeah, because I got a lot of shit to talk about. But yeah, man, it's like, yeah, man, it's like you know, yeah, you really don't want to talk to the far left because we are done with the Democratic Party. And I think I'm glad Sabby brought this up because I think you thought that she was like on your level, but a little bit more radical than you. But now you know that she's way radical than your ass. So yeah, here we go.
Your left, meaning that I support some things that I know you don't support. Like, I support defunding the police. I know you don't support that, but why not build a coalition with those people? Because what I think, because I don't believe that the Democratic Party is going to change because of the big money interests, I really think we should be using this time to try to build up the Green Party or a third party. Chris Smalls is starting a Labor Party. Chris Smalls is traveling across the country, engaging with people about how we can have a general strike in this country. I think that's where the energy should be going. And I really thought that, especially with the genocide, that more people would see this like, oh my God, both these parties are warmongers. Both these parties are owned. And I want to get your perception.
Me too, man. I think, though, to be honest with you, I think the 2024 election, woke up a lot of people's eyes. I think the war in Gaza set a lot of people on the couch too. A lot of people say it's the economy. It is, but like, I mean, to be honest with you, Trump didn't win by that much. I mean, the popular vote wise, he didn't win by that much. So that shows me that the people that were going to vote for Trump voted for Trump, and the people seeing that Kamala Harris was a bullshit artist, she wasn't going to change things that Biden did in terms of the genocide in Gaza. Like they knew that she was full of shit. So, um, it's like, um, yeah, I'll let her continue. But yeah, I just thought about that.
About that because the Democratic Party has let a lot of us down. And
oh yeah, my brain now working. Um, yeah, like TYT, like this is what Sabby was gonna say. Like you have the biggest platform on YouTube. Like you reach a lot of people every day. You know, while you had the leverage you had before the big exodus of TYT, you should have had Jill Stein on. You should have had Green Party candidates on. You should have had people in all these other organizations that's not duopoly related on. Like prop those up. Like if you did that, then you probably wouldn't get crapped on by the far left, Cenk. But y'all, you chose to, you know, pander to the Democrats when it was safe to do so. Then that didn't work. Now you're trying to talk to the right, which remember you and Anna said, the right is untalkable. You can't talk to the right. Don't talk to them because they stuck on. I guess they stuck. I guess I remember that shit. I used to watch TYT. So yeah, I forgot to mention that. Like, why not have Jill Stein on TYT to talk to her, interview her? Why not have PS? Why not Claudia Dela Cruz, which a lot of the PSL party, like things like that, man. Like you still like putting energy into the Democratic Party, which the Democratic Party is not going to change ever. You have to really dismantle the whole system, which that's why we support third parties. But let me continue.
I'm curious what you think about building that coalition with people to the left of you and the third party movement.
Yeah. So that's another great question. And I think there's two different issues in there. So one is building coalition with the left, and the other is a third party, right? And so is that the right way to build a coalition, right? So do I want to build a coalition with the left? Of course, I am the left, right? I don't mean I'm exclusively the left. I mean that if you watch our show on any given day, you'll see it's totally on the left, right? And so I know for some that say, nah, it's not enough. It's not enough. You have to agree with me 100%.
No, Cenk. No, you ain't got to agree 100%. It's just... oh, God. The labels, bad. Here come the labels. I am the left, but pretends like the far left is bad. Okay. Oh, boy. Here we go.
So, for example, you and I apparently don't agree on the framing of defund the police. I think it's terrible framing. I think police reform is desperately needed, but you're less likely to get police reform if you call it defund the police. So we can get into that debate. But do I want you and I to vote together in an election? Absolutely. Of course. Right. So let's say you had found a great candidate and you guys are pushing it forward and they've got a great chance of winning, etc. Am I not going to support that candidate because they want to defund the police or they have some positions I don't agree with? No. I'm going to support the candidate that most agrees with my positions. That's the logical thing to do. So, in fact, I'd be a giant hypocrite if I said, hey, guys, I'm allowed to disagree with you 5 or 10%. And you don't have to, go to war over that. If it didn't apply to me as well, of course it applies to me as well. If I disagree with a candidate that's 5 to 10% more on the left than I am, so what? I'm going to agree with that person.
That's how it should be, though. Like, okay, let's say that, the far left is into socialism, communism, and the center left, what Jack said he is into more strategy through the duopoly. Okay, the slightest, like we agree on everything that housing should be all right, healthcare, all that shit, okay. But like, but again, it's like the only kind of issue is you working in a system that's corrupt up by design. I mean, yeah, like yeah, but I don't think that should be a deterrent. I said, I don't want to work with this guy. I don't want to work with this guy at all. No, you know. Now, some people that just intentionally aren't workable, aren't work wittable. You know what I mean? Is yeah, y'all know what I'm talking about, man. But
A lot more than I agree with the guy on the right who I don't agree with on the issues 90%, right? So, of course, build coalitions on the left. And my God, wherever we are on the left wing spectrum on policy, when the Democratic primary comes in 2028, we must get on the same team. We cannot pick an establishment Democrat.
Jank, oh god, oh see this, yeah, God, this right here, Jank, like when we said we the radical left, we're not Democrats, bro. Like the Democratic primary comes, I'm not going to participate in it. I'm not voting for a Democrat. I'm not voting for a Democrat, bro. Like that's the issue that we have. I think pretty sure Sammy have the issue too. That right there, like the Democratic Party, like they're not going to pick a populist candidate. They're going to pick the most corporate candidate they could find. Like you don't get it. You don't get it. Like he's not getting what we're trying to tell him. Like Sabby's trying to tell him. Sabby really trying to help him. I can tell. I don't think Sabby came into this interview in bad faith at all. Sabby is not a bad faith actor at all, though. She's good faith. I think she's trying to say like, hey, bro, like we need like he didn't even answer the question. Like why not have different? Why not have a third party on? Like like a third party can win. It's just that you got to give a fuck about it. It's like to me, we wasting our time and energy on the Democratic Party. Not me, you, and other people, rather than doing something different. Like damn. Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez.
Democrat, a corporate Democrat. We can't. And what I'm a little worried about, Sabby, is that some portions of the folks.
I think Sammy about to explode, man. I mean, Sammy like, I can't take this. Oh my god, man. Oh my god. Like, yeah, that drove me crazy too. I'm like, are you fucking serious? Like, we gotta come together for a Democratic primary? We gotta come together for a Democratic primary. Are you fucking kidding me, man? Are you kidding me? Like, we're post-duopoly. We don't support the Democrats. I haven't supported the Democrats since 2020. When Bernie dropped out, I said I was done. I'm finished. I'm tired of this shit. And I voted for Howie Hawkins, which was a weak candidate. But I don't regret it because it's not a Democrat. Oh my God, bro. Oh God. Let me continue.
That are so, and this is important to clarify before we go further. My audience, we do this great town hall on Operation Hope that we do, and they asked me similar questions and I answered it. If you remember on tyt.com, you can see that for yourself. But what we realized in that conversation, what I realized thanks to my audience, is that saying far left, max left, all these different words that I've tried, and every time I said, look, I don't know what to call these folks. It's actually not based on policy. So it's not about whether you're far or et cetera. I'm far left on gun control and on a bunch of issues, right? Probably to the left of you and probably to the left of the great majority of the Democratic voters, right? That's not the right way of thinking about it. Are you a radical or are you not a radical? What does it mean to be a radical? Radical is purity tests. You must agree 100%. If you don't, you get thrown overboard, right?
That's not true. That's not true. Like, bro, do you know how many people, like, Like, I remember me and Liz, we was on tea time last week, and Liz said that people should have a food card, to go to the grocery store and buy whatever they need to buy, and I was to the left of her. I said that fuck a food card. Let's let people just go and get what the fuck they need. But I'm not gonna say, oh, Liz is not a radical because she don't think that people should just get it instead of having a food like it's just a slight change of strategy. Like that what you think? Like like it's like a food card. Everybody have a right to eat, no matter how you get it. To me, same with healthcare. Like people have different takes on healthcare. Like I mean, really, not really, but like Sammy said, like some people don't think a nationalized healthcare system will work, which I don't know why it wouldn't. I mean, it's not an experimental thing. Like it's been happening in these other developed countries for years. I just don't understand. But I'm just saying, it's like, oh, so Cenk idea is that the radical left is you, you got to agree with me on every single issue that I agree with, or you're not the left. No, no. Do you know, Jack? It's a lot of leftists on Twitter, and I know Twitter's a bad example that don't agree on like COVID strategy, like how to like they think that COVID was. I ain't gonna get to the COVID stuff, but they agree different for me on COVID, but I'm not going to counsel them because they do. That's their opinion. But if they agree on other things, then yeah, I'll work with them. The COVID stuff, we ain't gonna you know you know, but yeah. Yeah, I could tell by this interview, Cenk is full of shit. Like he don't want to work with the radical left. He's comfortable. So
You must hate the other side. If you don't hate the other side, you get thrown overboard. No dissent is allowed. Otherwise, you get thrown overboard. Radical right does purity tests based on race, religion, ethnicity, etc., and ideology. The left mainly does it on ideology, which is better because at least you're not doing race and religion, etc. But it's still a purity test, and it's still the kind of radicalism that I am against. I'm against all fundamentalism, religious fundamentalism, and political fundamentalism. That doesn't mean that everyone on the left is politically fundamentalist or radical. Not at all. I think it's a small group. So, but I'm saying don't be radical. I'm saying build the coalitions that are winning coalitions. So I can get to the Green Party in a second, but I thought you wanted to jump in on something.
But okay, so Cenk, you told people to support Kamala Harris, though. She was a corporate candidate. Like, so this is what I'm saying. This is what we saw happen twice. Bernie Sanders was the progressive candidate, taking small dollar donations. But when Bernie is not able to get the DNC nomination, we can go into how the Democratic Party cheated Bernie Sanders, I would say twice. The response from most of progressive media was, well, you can't get Trump, so you got to support the nominee. You got to support Biden. You got to support Hillary. So the thing is, the reason why I think some of us left the Democratic Party after this whole, I would call it progressive experiment, is because we saw that continuously happening. Don't support people who take corporate money, but the DNC controls who the nominee is going to be. And they're going to go with someone who's corporate.
just like what I said a few minutes ago, like that's what we trying to tell you guys, the bigger permanent YouTubers, independent YouTube hosts, but y'all thinking that we believe in a genie in a bottle perspective. Like we literally telling y'all like the Democratic Party don't give a fuck about what you say, Cenk. The DNC don't care, bro. Like, yeah, I guess I guess in your mind you believe that you have an impact on what's going on in Washington, but at the end of the day, like I'm pretty sure that the DNC is looking at those funds coming in for those billionaire donors. The what that big billionaire, that liberal billionaire donor. Fuck, I forgot his name. Lord have mercy. I'm sorry, guys. Oh shit! Like they looking at the money, bro. They're not looking at who will help people out. Anyway, yeah, I'll let it continue. It's just
Then we hear you guys say, well, just support that corporate Democrat. So are you saying going forward, you're not going to do that?
So that
He didn't give a yes or no answer. Like, yeah, Jank, 2020. Bernie Sanders drop out. Instead of you and Kyle and the others are saying that Bernie should run as an independent. Like, I know y'all had contacts with his campaign team. No, let's support Biden and push him left. 2024. Um, you know, some of you guys, said the genocide in Gaza happened in 2023, and then, yeah, Biden was complicit in it because he gave money to Israel. Like some of y'all said, y'all were going to support him, but again, let's vote for Kamala Harris because she's not Trump. Like, see that shit right there throws a lot of people off. It throws people like me off and Savvy off. Like, I don't gel with that, bro. That's not good enough. Like, yeah, like Trump is the symptom. Trump is like a lot of people now losing their mind over Trump. Because all the shit that happened with Doge and all that stuff. But again, it's like this shit been happening before Trump. So fascism is here. And you voting for blue fascists and red fascists. The blue fascist is just as bad as the red fascist, but at least the blue fascist, he put a token cabinet member in his cabinet, their cabinet every now and then. Like, come on, man. Like, nah. Like, you're not gonna push Joe Biden left. Joe Biden is the orchestrator of the crime bill. Joe Biden is the bankruptcy bill guy, so you won't have to put your student loans on there. Like, Joe Biden, in my eyes, has done more that's detrimental to marginalized people than Trump. Like, I mean, I'm just, you want us to support that? Like, no, bro. Like, no. That's why I stopped watching TYT. And then Kamala Harris, Miss Top Cop herself, the contributor to the criminal injustice system in California. Like, no, bro, I'm not supporting Kamala Harris. I'm not supporting Joe Biden. No, like, you wasting your time on these two very flawed, diabolical individuals when you should put energy towards third party. Jill Stein, the Green Party. I have problems with the Green Party myself, but at least they're anti-war. At least they support reparations. At least they're moving in the right direction. I think a lot of people were skeptical of the Green Party for a while because they've been wishy-washy, but I think they're getting their shit together. They still need to build. Like, they need to got to put in the work. To win, but yeah, like that's the problem. See, Jack ain't understanding. It's like he's not even understanding what Sabby is saying. Like, he's telling you again, like, hey, we don't support the duopoly. My God. Oh, here we go.
there's a super important distinction there. Support in the primary or the general election, right? Because in the general election,
But Jane, yeah, in the primaries, you do support Bernie Sanders, but again, once Bernie Sanders get cheated, then you want to say let's support the corporate candidate. You push them left. Like, no, that don't work, bro. It don't work like that. Oh my God. So how you didn't answer the question? Like, she asked him, "Hey, will you stop saying that we should support the corporate candidate?" And he keeps saying, like, "Yeah, either the primary or the general election." Like, what the freak? Oh God, haven't cussed yet. That's good.
uh, there was no earthly way that any candidate other than Kamala Harris or Donald Trump was going to win by the time we get to decision time and we're voting, right? So and I didn't want Donald Trump winning because I thought he might terminate the Constitution and doesn't believe in our form of government. I didn't want that under any circumstances. So then I was left choiceless but to vote for Kamala Harris. So, but in the primary,
How's you left choiceless? How's you left choiceless, Jake? That's one thing I don't understand. Like, it's always choices. It's third party. Um, you know. Oh God, bro. Like. See, this is why we don't. We don't. This is why we don't. That's why we don't really want to coalesce with you guys. Like, Like, this is why. That right there, like, this part of the interview really ticked me off. It's like, you always have a choice, Jake. You stand by, you believe in all this populist shit that the Democrats don't believe in. Democrats don't believe in, like, we had Barack Obama that could have gave us at least a public option type of thing. But we got Romney Care deal. He rather help Wall Street executive rather than um, you know black folks that lost their homes during the '08 housing crash. Like, like that's a problem. That's a problem.
Primaries, no, do not coalesce around corporate candidates. That is a giant trick. It's a propaganda trick by mainstream media. So that's what happened against Bernie in 2016 and 2020. I've been dead set against that. So your point is, why not just go independent? Why not just get rid of these? Like, can't stand these. If you can't stand these corporate Democrats, I've been fighting these corporate Democrats my whole life, right? So when you tell me about how you go to Harvard and everybody hates money in politics, oh, thank God, finally, thank God, right? And by the way, again, I know some on the left won't believe this, but the thing that the right-wing actual voters now hate the most is money in politics. And you're going to say, well, no, but they love Elon and they love this and that. Yeah, I get it. And Elon set up a giant propaganda machine on X. But whenever I go on any right-wing show and I go, the donor class sucks and they control all of our politicians.
I mean, to be honest with you, the right do control the social media spectrum. They on Facebook, Meta, they on X. Like, like you go on X, man. There's all kinds of diabolical shit that be said every day. Like, but if you say, F Israel, your account gets suppressed. Um, like, they on YouTube. Like, again, like, the right wing has a hold on social media. You know, but what I'm saying is the few leftist based channels that have some kind of traction on these platforms should do their best to stand on principle and say, F the two-party system. Let's go beyond that. Let's do mutual aid. Let's organize. Let's do things that will eventually have change. Oh my God, he's not getting it. Like, this is the thing, he's not getting it.
APAC does, the drug companies do, the oil companies do, etc. All I get is, yep, 100%. Then I say, remember, Elon's a donor. They're like, but okay, I hear you. So at least we planted that thought. But anyway, my point is, we're getting to this wonderful place. But unfortunately, our system is so rigged against third parties that it is just, unless you're a billionaire, it's near impossible to pull off a third-party victory. But what I would tell you, Savvy, is, on the other hand, winning a Democratic...
Wow. So, I mean, yeah, it is rigged. I think we're not denying it, but what we're saying is that you got to build something, Jake. Like, it takes a building effort from everybody, not just us. We're small, bro, compared to you. You're bigger. It takes time to build up shit, bro. Like, to be honest with you, you can't change the past. You can only build towards the future. Like, that's a saying that I've always been saying in my head. Like, we should have, built up a third party movement 10 years ago. Like, I think if y'all was a part of it and we was a part of it, I think the Green Party or any other party you could think of would have had more leverage than we do now. But it is what it is. Hopefully, you never know. 2028, it could be more of a building effort. But again, man, it's like, yeah, that's always the excuse from these people that still want to work in the two-party system. Oh, it's rigged. It's impossible. It's hard to build a movement, because you have no shot. Yeah.
I get that, but I I don't know. I try to look at the bigger picture. And when I talk about a movement, I'm not just looking at like electoral politics, right? So it's not just third party. It's organizing. It's all these other pieces to the puzzle that I feel sometimes are overlooked. A lot of these progressive policies have passed on a local level. You live in California. California is a ballot initiative state. So like my state, Massachusetts, ballot initiative, we've passed progressive policies locally, right? But this is why it frustrates me when so many people stay home. They're not even going to vote for that. They're not voting for those ballot measures that will directly impact them in their state. So that's one thing, ballot initiatives. Mutual aid. I do mutual aid. I wish more people were donating money to mutual aid organizations instead of to political candidates. Like, we're spending millions of dollars on presidential candidates and we're not taking that money and putting it into communities. We could have built clinics. We could have done so much more for, I think, a lot of the lower income communities. And then there's the protest, right? A couple years ago, we had marches for Medicare for all in the US, in over 50 cities in the US. And I got to tell you, even back then, it was frustrating because a lot of the large left media wouldn't even allow the organizers to come on to promote it. I didn't understand, because Biden was president. I don't know, but I thought we all agreed on Medicare for all. That's another thing. So we need people like you. We need people like you guys are way bigger than us. Okay. So we need people like you. We need people like even like Majority Report, all these people. When these actions take place, we need those channels to promote it. Now, those marches were great, but we could have had more people. And then some people said they didn't know. Cori Bush was the only squad member who came to the March for Medicare for All. She was the only one.
These people, they knew. They knew all this stuff was happening. Like they was on Twitter just like us, especially during that time. Um, yeah. It's a lot of things to say about that. Yeah, a lot of people in this space has egos. They have agendas. Cenk says he's not a grifter, which I mean, there's a lot of evidence to point to that. But my thing is, if you actually give a fuck about actually doing instant change like mutual aid, imagine if Cenk had a mutual aid organized on his show in, like Rome or Feeney or Chris Smalls even. I think Chris Smalls been on TYT. But imagine that. Like, imagine, like, I hope he invites Sabby on there, you know, like, to TYT. Why not? I'll watch it. That's probably the only time I watch TYT, to be honest with you. Like, you need to go beyond electoralism. Like, electoralism ain't it, bro. It's not working. Like, okay, you say that, third parties have no shot at winning. I was looking at something. Okay, then and maybe talk to somebody that has another way to another strategy. You know, like you know, like no man is an island. Like it's good to have a lot of ideas in your head, even though you think that your idea is the most right, correct way of doing things. Like maybe if you have a Feeny on to your show to talk about mutual aid and how she organized and how she got rent control in PG County done and stuff like that. Like on the local level does matter. I need to pay more attention to local politics myself. Um, so yeah, yeah, man, these platforms, man, I think they're doing their subscribers, their viewers a disservice by doing the same thing, getting the same result. Like AOC 2028, like nobody should not even give a give her a fucking dime. Like AOC has played us. Even her story, her background is fabricated, which is crazy. Um, she caved to the Democratic elites. She did a lot of shit, and then she smeared Jill Stein too. Like that right there was it. That was it, man. So yeah, you know, and it's like I hope Jank one day heeds to this. I'm gonna play a few more minutes of this. Man, I can't believe I spent an hour and a half talking about this. This is crazy, but it's just I had to get so much off my chest about this, man. I watched the whole thing in its entirety. Um, You know, Sabby, she set the record straight. And then the craziest thing is, she didn't have to raise her voice. Like, that's nice. You know, nice, normal conversation. You know, um,
All of them were contacted. So they can't just fight when Republicans are in power. They also have to fight when Democrats are in power too. So I want to get your perspective there about organizing, because I feel like I keep hearing people say we have to organize. We did. We organized the marches for Medicare for all. We organized, obviously, the pro-Palestinian protests, which are still happening. And I know you're not a fan of this one, but also Force the Vote. We've been organizing for 10 years, but it's the politicians that are not showing up.
Yeah. Look, Force to Vote was just off by a little bit. It's just jumped the gun. It was strategic. I disagreed with it strategically, but not in terms of its goals, right? So, in the same with the marches, I love the marches. I love the goals. I want to take those goals and strategies and turn them into practical wins, so we could actually get these policies that we've been fighting for decade after decade, right? So, look, you say you're small and we're big, and I hear you, but I'm here and I'm doing this because we need the small, the big, the far left and the middle left and the independents, and we need all of it to pass Medicare for all. That is going to be extremely difficult, and we've got to build a very large coalition to do that. So what I want people to do is like support, like your show doesn't agree with my show on a couple of different things that we discuss here. So what? People should subscribe to your show. People should subscribe to the Young Turks. They should subscribe to all these shows and listen to.
End it there, but yeah, like, I believe the only reason why Cenk went on to Sabby's show is to promote his show. Like, I think Cenk and his folks went, looking for lefty YouTube shows that are growing. And, Cenk is taking the opportunity to come on there and say, hey, even though you might left me and went to Sabby's show because Sabby is right and I'm wrong about strategy, come back to my show. Even though I criticize the radical left because I'm mad that they're not kissing my ring, even though I put something on, let's come together and kumbaya, even though we need to support the Democratic populist candidate, even though the DNC is not going to pick him. Like, come on, dude, really? So yeah, that was probably the longest segment I ever did. I've had people watching like, what the hell is he doing? But anyway, my final thoughts. Man, I still got to get to a lot of stuff. My final thoughts on this is this. I think Cenk still missed not getting the point. Savvy, she explained it to him twice. He still didn't get it. Bro, like, I don't think the Democratic Party is going to win another major election in a long time. They might get the House or the Senate back. And even that looking good because 29% favorability rating, despite what the Republicans are doing. Like that just tells you, man, people are just tired. They're tired. Republican Party's tired of their folks. Democratic Party tired of their folks. Yeah. So yeah, I said a lot. Again, man, kudos to Jack for coming on to a black independent media space. Um, you know, that's been my criticism of these bigger platforms. They're not willing to talk to us. I know they're not gonna talk to my black ass. I think I rep Jack into a new one a lot of times on here, so I really don't give a damn. Like I don't care. I'm not in this for clout. Um, you know, I'm willing to talk to him. One day, not now. Like I got a long way to go, but so yeah. That's all I gotta say about that, man. Let's get to the next story. All right, guys. So I forgot to talk about this. This is from last week. Carmelo Anthony's family has been going through hell. Ever since her son did what he have to do with self-defense and agreeing. I have to say this. Because I do have a heart. I feel sorry for what happened. A life was lost doing that. It was tragic. I don't wish nobody to lose their life. But, sometimes, consequences have actions. And, ever since this started really with the gifts and go thing, people sending money towards Carmelo Anthony so he could get him a good attorney and stuff like that. And it's been these right wing idiots, these dumbasses, have been smearing this family, you know, um, like, America's a racist ass country because it like they don't want us to have shit. Like Carmelo Anthony's family is wealthy. They're not rich, but they're not poor. Okay, they're not working class, which yeah, most of black people are working class. That's by design too, by the way. But because they have a nice house and a few cars in their driveway, and then the money that was raised from Gives and Go, which was $400,000, and then these right wing pundits and these coon ass Negroes been making lies saying that they taking the money and they buying cars, they bought a house, which they've been living in a house since 2022. Like it don't even take that long to search. That's crazy, man. Like we live in a technology era where we have cell phones and tablets and people could just search up shit in the palm of their fucking hand. But people would rather get clicks because most of this shit is clickbait by making up shit. Like just making up lies and get paid for it. Like they get monetization from it. And it's diabolical this world has come to, man. Society has lost its mind. What's up with these crackers? Yeah, I'm gonna say it. If I offend somebody in here, you can leave. Like, bye. Like, I ain't, because that's who mostly is. And some Negroes too, some token Negroes. See, it ain't just crackers, it's Negroes. The tokens, the coons, the sellouts, the Sambos that's been talking shit too. And, I hope Carmelo Anthony's family sues the New York Post, man. Like, New York Post wrote all of that bull junk about making all those lies, and then those neighbors, whoever those neighbors are, yeah, they're full of crap too. So anyway, I got this tweet right here. Um, it says it says everyone needs to listen to Carmelo Anthony's mom and refrain from creating false rumors. Please share this video in its entirety. So yeah, like it's sad that the mother of the family had to come out and clarify things. Like it's bad enough her son life, for the next few months is in limbo because we have a criminal justice system, that looks at skin color, and they rather look at skin color and look at the facts. Like if you look at the facts now that we have, even though things are still coming out as we know, like self-defense is self-defense. I mean, I'm just saying self-defense, but but yeah, I'm finna play this video. Um, Here we go.
In wake of this tragic incident, our family has been under attack. Whatever you think what happened between Carmelo and the Metcalf boys, my 3 younger children, my husband, and I didn't do anything to deserve to be threatened, harassed, and lied about. The lies and false accusations that have been said about us, especially over the past week, has been overwhelming. The lies and their amplification put my family in danger, as well as everyone in our community, everyone involved in the investigation, from the police.
And you know what else too? It's like they've been getting death threats. Now I'm hearing that they have to possibly move because they, because people know where they live, which is so unfortunate. Like, yeah, like that's how much your information is out there, man. People find out where you live in a few seconds. Now that's crazy. They can find out where their family live at, but they can't find out that they didn't use the money from Gifts and Go. And even the guy that runs Gifts and Go had to say that, hey, they haven't touched the money yet, and then it takes 5 days for the money to be released. Like, yeah, that's how it usually goes. And then on top of that too, as well, fuck GoFundMe. They wouldn't accept the fundraiser, so that's why they use Gifts and Go. So yeah, it's wild. It's wild for them to have to go through this.
The attorneys and the court staff. Our address and my husband's previous employer's address has been put on all social media platforms. My husband had to take a leave of absence because he's afraid what may happen to our family. His mental health is deteriorating day by day. We have endured.
Like, this dude can't work because of what's happening to him. And when it comes to black people mental health, it's insane to me. Like, when some like a mass shooting happened and found out a white person did it, what they always say, oh, it's mental health. It's a mental health issue, but when black folks go through a trauma, you know, oh, it's not mental health related. Like, it's just stuff like that. And his mental health is bad. His headspace is bad because of these freaking evil ass people online smearing them, defrauding them, defaming them. Like, yeah. Like, man, some defamation lawsuits have to happen, man. It have to happen.
Death threats. My 13-year-old daughter is afraid to sleep in her own bedroom because she's. And let me be clear, the claims that were used about the public donation to buy a home or anything else are completely false. We have not received a single dime.
Exactly. They haven't touched the money yet. And then the house, like I said, was bought in 2022. So, like, you couldn't do that research, but you got their address. So, crazy ass people, because this world is full of crazy ass people, could come and possibly, intimidate and harm those folks. Just sick people, just sick folks. Like the Kyle Rittenhouse shit. Like, I haven't heard about him getting death threats or anything like that. I mean, nobody should get nobody should get death threats, but again, it's like, like I said to somebody else, I said, if this was a black on black thing, all of this attention would happen. It'll be in the news for a couple of days. They'll, the racist, bigoted folks will say their soliloquy like, yeah, these barbaric black people, man, we gotta get rid of them. Yeah, like that would be happening. But because Metcalf happened to be a white boy, and Carmelo Anthony did what he did, and based on evidence, self-defense, based on witnesses' testimony, self-defense. Yeah. So, and then she said her daughter has nightmares. Like, that's not normal. You can't live a life worrying all the time. It's not good for your health. Jeez, man.
From the Give, Send, Go fundraiser. And the co-founder has stated that clearly. In the reality, we were just notified yesterday that we could begin to withdraw funds. And it still takes several days to receive those funds once a request is made. I don't know why we are being targeted and discriminated against before a fair trial.
I mean, you should know why. I know she reading from a statement, but you know why. Like I mean, it's easy to guess, obviously, but I let it continue. It's sad.
Our son deserves the same rights under the law that everyone is afforded to. He's been raised in a two-parent home with structure, stability, love, and we put God first in everything that we do. We believe in the Constitution. We believe in the laws of this state, but those laws must apply to all of us, not just some of us. To be clear,
I mean, to be honest with you, the Constitution really did not apply to black folks. It applied to rich land-owning white men, but you know, I mean, now, what she's saying, it should make sense, but we live in a racist ass country, and that's why you guys been targeted. You know, um, that's why all this stuff happening. I mean, you know, um, America never intended for black folks to have rights. Like people need to understand that. Like we, we was we they said we wasn't even fully human. Like this is why that Trump and the senators all them want to get rid of all the books and stuff that they claim is woke ideology and DEI. Even though that shit's not that, it's just telling the dark side of America. You know what I mean? Um, like yeah, like they don't want us to know history. They don't. They want to. They want to make history in white coded fashion. You know what I mean? Um, yeah, like yeah, ain't nothing wrong with believing in the Constitution and the laws of America. So I'm not talking about her. 'Cause I know she's hurting. I know she's going through. But I'm just saying it's you know, yeah, like again, like my thing is if this was opposite, let's say that Carmelo Anthony was white and he murdered a black boy in self defense. I don't think that the family that you know that that his family wouldn't be targeted. I really don't believe so. But I mean, it's just the way it goes in America.
will not speak publicly about specific details of what happened under the tent on that rainy and awful day. There's an active investigation that everyone involved wants to be full and fair. We believe in legal process, and that is where the truth will come out. To the family who experienced the loss, my heart truly goes out to you. To those who have supported my family, thank you from the bottom of our hearts. We ask for your continued support, patience, and prayers as we navigate this difficult process. Thank you.
So yeah, guys. I mean, it's sad that they had to do that in that time. Like, they shouldn't have to come out with a statement clarifying things because of these diabolical people. And also, too, yeah, man. F the New York Post too. Again, like that I read that. Now I read it again. It's disgusting. You know, it shows you. Yeah, like no, the facts don't matter. You know, let's smear this family. Let's smear Carmelo Anthony. Let's defame their name. So yeah, I forgot to play that. I should have played that when I I talked about Carmelo at first, but so I went on and did it there. So all right, guys, on to the next story. All right, guys, I know this has been a while, but be sure to like the video. It helps us out in the algorithm, so I appreciate that gladly. So all right, y'all, this is from Reuters. It says Mangione faces federal charges, death penalty, and United Health executives killing. Yeah, I noticed they're trying to hurry up and speed this up because they're trying to make an example out of Luigi. Um, you know, they want to make this an open to shut case because one of their own has been murked. Um, See, this is what capitalism gets you. Like a lot of people say Brian Thompson had a family and he didn't deserve this and that, but you gotta ask yourself like the actions that Brian Thompson did, like, let's say the head of household comes down with an illness and, they die because Brian Thompson denied them health care. And now the family suffering now because the head of household income doesn't exist anymore. Like you got to think about things like that. It's always the little things. But I'm finna read it. Uh, yeah, I'm finna read it. I'm not gonna play the video. The video just, I think it's like a clip notes version of the article. It says a grand jury has indicted Luigi Mangione, who's accused of murking a United Health Group executive in New York last year, allowing prosecutors to seek the death penalty in his case, according to court filings on Thursday. Mangione, who is already facing state murder and weapon charges in New York, which does not have the death penalty, which I don't believe in the death penalty, but I continue. It says the federal indictment does not include new charges but raises stakes for Mangione, who has pleaded not guilty to the state charges. It says Mangione's lawyer did not immediately respond to requests for comment. The U.S. Attorney's Office in Manhattan declined to comment. The indictment that a grand jury found probable cause to charge Mangione with murder, stalking, and firearm offenses. A hearing in a federal case is scheduled for Friday in Manhattan federal court. So that was this past Friday. Um, it says Mangione has asked a judge to prevent federal prosecutors from seeking the death penalty. His lawyers, his filing last week, said U.S. Attorney General Pan Bundy's April 1st announcement that prosecutors will seek a death penalty was unapologetically political and breached government protocols for death penalty decisions. Damn, even Pan Bundy saying, yeah, that's a little bit too far. Damn. That's shocking. Um, If the bid fails and Mangione is convicted in a federal case, the jury will determine in a separate phase of the murder trial to recommend the death penalty. Any such recommendation will be unanimous, and the judge will be required to oppose it. Brad Tuster, the deceased CEO of United Health's insurance division, was shot dead on December 4th outside a hotel in Midtown Manhattan, where the company was gathering for an investor conference. Um, And that's wild. He got murked on the day he was about to discuss on how to screw more people over. Ain't that amazing? The brazen killing of Thompson and ensuing 5-day manhunt captated Americans. Which, I mean, the reason why that the corporate media stopped talking about this is because the public's reaction to it was not what they wanted to be. They wanted Americans to be so disgusted. Oh, this guy was a savage who killed a family man. Oh, which in actuality, people like good. Like, had to watch what I say on here, so I can't really say what I want to say. But it says while public officials condemned the killing, some Americans have cheered Mangione, saying he drew up attention to steep U.S. healthcare costs and the power of health insurers to refuse payment for some treatments. No shit, Sherlock. Mangione is currently being held in federal lockup in Brooklyn. So yeah, that was the update on Luigi. Um, you know, um, Luigi, in my eyes, is innocent. I mean, he's innocent. I mean, I mean, the craziest thing is, it's still a lot of innuendos that they miss out on, according to Luigi's defense. So yeah. As more things come out, I will, especially bring it up. So, all right, guys, on to the next story. All right, guys. So Yeah, more shit came out about this. Um, yeah, Hexelf is an idiot. He should like. Yeah, he's an idiot. It says this is from CNN Politics. It says Hexelf shared detailed military plans in second signal chat that included his wife and brother. So more signal chat leaks came out. Oh, jeez. Uh, excuse y'all. Man. It says Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth shared detailed plans about a military operation against the Houthis in Yemen on a second signal group chat. This one on his personal phone, including his wife, lawyer, brother, and three other people familiar with the chat, told CNN. Wait, why are you telling your closest people about classified plans in the first place? Like, I don't think that's legal. I think they got, like a psychiatrist can't tell their significant other, their partner, about one of their patients, what their patient's going through. Like, that's confidentiality or something, doctor patient confidentiality or something like that. I'm pretty sure that goes the same in the government, but I continue. It says the chat was set up during Hexef to tumultuous confirmation hearing process as a way for his closest allies to strategize. Two of the people familiar with the matter said, but Hexef continued using the chat, which had more than a dozen people in it, to communicate after he was confirmed, the people said. The revelation comes as some of Hexef's closest advisors have begun sounding the alarm about the secretary's judgment, including his former press secretary, John Ulott, and three former senior officials Hexef fired last week. His top advisor, Dan Caldwell, Deputy Chief of Staff Darwin Selnick, and Colin Carroll, who served as Chief of Staff to the Deputy Secretary of Defense. It's been a month of total chaos at the Pentagon, from leaks of sensitive operational plans to mass firings. The dysfunction is now a major distraction for the president, who deserves better from his senior leadership, Ulott said in a statement obtained by CNN. Yeah. Yeah, he deserved better. Like, I mean, no. Trump knows what he's doing by putting these people in here. Like, yeah. Um, the second signal chat, in addition to the one Hexef used to communicate with cabinet officials last month about military plans, that chat is under investigation by the Defense Department's acting inspector general. It says similar to the first signal chat, um, which was revealed publicly by the Atlantic after its editor was mistakenly included by National Security Advisor Mike Waltz. The military plans Hexef shared in the second chat were about strikes against the Houthis, the people said. Hexef's brother Phil, as well as his lawyer Tim Pala, Palator, Palator, both have jobs at the Department of Defense, but his wife generally does not. Which, again, like I said, confidentiality. Despite Hexef regularly including her during the beginning of his tenure in meetings with foreign leaders, it is not clear whether everyone in a signature has a security clearance. It says CNN has reached out to Hexef's spokesperson for comment. The New York Times was first to report on the second signal chat. It says the news of the second chat follows a day of turmoil at the Defense Department after Hexef fired Caldwell, Selnick, and Carroll, as reassigned his chief of staff Joe Casper. Man, last week Pentagon spokespeople said the chaos had resulted from a leak investigation, but sources told CNN the firings are just one symptom of the dysfunction that enveloped Hexef's office over the last 5 weeks, which included sustained infighting between Casper, Caldwell, Selnick, and Carroll. Casper resigned from his role last week, though he may be still reassigned somewhere else in the Pentagon. He did not respond to requests for comment. And then I'll read this. It says, series of leaks about military planning for the Panama Canal in the Middle East, about a possible consolidation of the combatant commands, and about a classified China briefing for Elon Musk at the Pentagon, had deepened rattled himself by mid-March, sources told CNN. So he and Casper launched a leak probe complete with polygraph tests. Oh, God. Following the press reports, including one in the New York Times about the questionable success of a massive military campaign against the Houthis, Hegseth began to lash out and grew suspicious that senior military officials, as well as some of his closest advisors, were leaking to undermine him, the sources added. So yeah, Not only the first signal chat, which drew a lot of media attention, obviously. Now the second one, leaked by the New York Times, has his wife in it, and his wife is not even part of the fucking not even part of the government. And then on top of that, she don't have any security clearances. So it just tells you the competence of these assholes. You know, like Mike Walls put the editor of the I forgot that paper was. It said in the article. Ah, Jesus Christ! Like, yeah, man, our government is we live in a cartoon. We live in a cartoon. Yeah, using an encryptive um chat to talk about war plans, which anybody has access to. It's not that hard to hack into somebody's phone. It's not really that hard. So, oh God, 4 more years of this clown show. So, all right, guys, on to the next story. All right, guys. So, I got this story from Politico. Oh, ALC. Um, you know, I have some questions. Like, now I know that a lot of people want her to primary against Chuck Schumer for the Senate seat next year, right? Yeah, 2026. But I mean, like, but you still ask the question that you are in a safe district, first of all. So why you're raising $9.6 million in 3 months, and it's not even election season? Like, the primaries for the Senate is next year. Like, that still don't make sense. I know some people will say, well, maybe she's raising money, to get the Senate seat. Nah, not buying it. Um, I'm pretty sure that her and Bernie Sanders want her to be running for president. So this is from Politico. It says Ocasio Cortez raised $9.6 million in 3 months, smashing her own record. Oh God. Make this bigger. Uh, it says AOC raised 9.6 million in the first 3 months of the year, more than double her second highest quarter. A massive haul that comes amid increasing calls by progressives for her mount a 2028 primary challenge against Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer. I'm a bad guy. My bad, guys. I meant to say 2028. I said 2026. Oh God, that's mostly the House, ain't it? But see, I get stuff wrong. I'm not perfect. But yeah, like, again, still don't make any sense. Like, 2028 is 4 years away from here. Well, less than four now, but like, now raising money. Yeah, yeah. Usually people don't raise that much money unless they're trying to run for president. Um, it's Ocasio Cortez, who now has more than $8 million in cash on hand, has spent recent weeks brainstorming the country with Senator Bernie Sanders on his Fighting Oligarchy tour, drawing thousands of supporters. Her fundraising was included in a federal election commission report filed Tuesday. Very, very suspect. I mean, the Fighting Oligarchy tour isn't no campaign. It's just going around. I think too. Not only are they trying to sheep her people back to the Democratic Party, I think also too Bernie Sanders is trying to make AOC his predecessor. Because I remember Bernie said in one of the little clips said, "This is my daughter. Like, this is a person I like. I love. Like, yeah." Um, It said the leader of the progressive movement, Ocasio-Cortez, had long been a fundraising powerhouse who draws upon a vast network of small dollar donors. She said in a post on X that the average campaign donation was $21, and her campaign manager, Oliver Hidalgo, I can't say that, said in a statement that 64% of contribution came from first-time donors, adding that AOC doesn't take a dollar from lobbyists or corporate PACs. Our top dollar professions are teachers and nurses. Um, it says, I cannot convey enough how grateful I am to the millions of people supporting us with your time, resources, and energy. Ocasio-Cortez said of her fundraising, your support has allowed us to rally people together at a record scale to organize their communities. Yeah, you're not organizing communities. You are basically funneling money towards um, the two-party system, which in fact, um, like, what you going to get back from from all that money? Is you going to put it towards mutual aid? No. You like no. So I'm just saying, like, oh God, like Sabby said this before, like like people hear this and people is putting their time and energy towards this project, which trying to run AOC as a presidential nominee rather than taking that money and doing mutual aid with it, which you should be doing. Right? You should be doing mutual aid, like, and building organizations and stuff like that. Like things that money. Imagine if Rome and RBN had that type of money. Like their RBN chapters would spend more above their own cities. It'll go towards actually helping people. But like we're about to head down the Bernie Sanders route again. It looks like, man. Yeah, this is like some Bernie Sanders type shit right here. What else it says? It says fellow progressive quickly touted her haul, which doubled with more than double her second best quarter when she raised 4.4 million in the summer of 2020. The people are sending Democrats a message about the direction they would like to see. Sanders advisor Fast Schachner said in a post on X. So yeah, man. This is clearly, to me, I mean, that ALC wants to I think she wants to run for president. Like, come on. I mean, even a Senate race, I mean, like, that far down the road, like, why raise that much money so quick if you're not, like, you're in a safe district? Like, that don't make any sense to me. It really don't. And 2028 is far away. Like, yeah, Chuck Schumer's reputation is shot now because he gave the Republicans what they want. But again, it's like, and even let's say, even if she decides to run for president, like, again, you're not going to win. They don't want ALC to run for president. All they want ALC to do is to smear third-party candidates like Jill Stein. They want her to go along to get along with whoever the fuck that DNC wants at the moment. Like, they don't want her to run for president. Like, they don't like her. They don't like Bernie Sanders. Like, but but let me show y'all this. Share my screen again. This commercial, man. This sounds like a presidential ad to me. It really does. It says a better world is possible. Hold on, guys. I'm pretty sure you can't share my screen. It says a better world is possible. Oh, gee, it is. This sounds like a presidential ad, man. It is. Like, let me play it.
This movement is not about partisan labels or purity tests. It's about class solidarity. It is about the thousands of you who came out here today to stand together and say our lives deserve dignity and our work deserves respect. Because it will never be just institutions and officials alone that uphold our democracy. It will always be the people, the masses, who refuse to comply with authoritarian regimes, who are the last and strongest defense of our country and our freedoms. We are at a crossroads, oligarchy or democracy, but we cannot have both. Los Angeles, I've made my choice.
You know what's funny? They call out the Republican oligarchy, but don't you realize that Democrats have an oligarchy too? Oh God, like it's crazy.
We must fight the oligarchy that has created this nightmare. And that is why I have never taken money from lobbyists or corporations, and it's why I never will. But beyond elections, our task is to build community. Block associations, volunteer groups, church organizations, PTAs, activist organizations, because community is the most powerful building block we have to defeat authoritarianism and root out corruption. This is the path to guaranteeing health care to every American, to establish a living minimum wage, to take on skyrocketing rents and mortgages, to tackle the climate crisis, and establish a country where the American dream is actually possible for all of us. Because we know, Los Angeles, that a better world is possible, and we are willing to do something about it.
Oh God. That shit's cringe. You know why it's cringe? Because you know it's cap. It's full of cap. Oh God. Yeah, for somebody that's, not really talking about running for president, but why your team, apparently that's her team Twitter account that put that video out there. Yeah, they put that video out there for a reason. Like they like it's a teaser. You know how some like movies have teasers, they have a teaser poster or something like that. It's kind of like a teaser of what to see in 4 years from now. So, but shout out to Nico House with this banger video. Nico cooked on this one. I'm finna share this. Yeah, he cooked. Yeah, here we go.
I'm calling it now. AOC is running for president, and it's a problem that we need to talk about. Now, I know many of you are probably thinking, how the hell could you know if she's running for president in 2028 and 2025? Now, if you've been following me for a while, then you remember, I predicted that Tulsi Gabbard was going to run in 2020 and 2017. I predicted Kamala was going to run in 2020 and early 2017 before they released the information about her meeting in the Hamptons. I also predicted that Bernie would be running in 2020, even though many people thought that he would sit out once they found out Tulsi Gabbard was going to run. Now, the reason I was able to predict all these presidential candidates running years before they actually announced is because there are a set of very specific metrics that you can actually look at to figure out what someone's intentions are politically as it pertains to running for president. In the case of AOC, she's been touring the country with Bernie Sanders, has done at least 13 major rallies for this fighting the oligarchy campaign, which doesn't really make any sense because her district is in New York.
Exactly, a district. Right? Why? Why are you campaigning? Basically, it's kind of like a non-election campaign. Like you putting your name out there. Like why you putting your name out there to the people when you're not running for? Well, you already have in a political office, but why are you? I mean, like once you put the pieces together, it kind of makes sense. But we let Nico continue.
And she is safe. So why would you be touring the country while there's a President Trump in power instead of whenever there was a Biden in power, for example? And why specifically would you be touring the country with Bernie Sanders, who obviously was one of the most popular presidential candidates in history? She hasn't really introduced any new legislation. Bernie hasn't really introduced any new legislation. They're not actually trying to galvanize people behind a very specific cause outside of this general idea of fighting the oligarchy. And to be very frank, these tours will not change anything at this very moment. But it does let a lot of people know who one of the most popular quote unquote progressive candidates in history is probably standing behind if she were to run for president.
Exactly. Like, yeah, they know. They know that this shit ain't gonna change Trump or the agenda of Trump. Like, yeah, this is just to put AOC out there. Like, hey y'all, look at this new, young Latina, that could be your next president. She wants to fight the oligarchy. She's a progressive. They want to push her out there, for the masses to see. But again, like the DNC's not gonna pick her. But
on top of that, AOC has ramped up her television interviews since the start of January 2025. Just like Kamala did, just like Tulsi did, and just like Bernie did whenever they ran for president in 2020. They're even saying that AOC is quote-unquote non-committal to a presidential run, and that her decision will be based on whether or not the Democratic Party is running someone progressive enough for her liking. Now, obviously, fundraising is...
Which we know that the Democratic Party don't want no progressive running for president. So, most likely, she will do it, like I predicted.
Is strange, but going out of your way to fundraise so much is strange when once again you're in a clearly safe district and no one looks like they're going to touch you there. It's because you're filling your coffers, and donations aren't really just a metric to figure out how much you can spend, but it's also a metric to gauge interest and know just how committed people are to you if you do decide to run. And I want to be perfectly clear, when she announces every actual anti-war independent leftist needs to loudly scream, fuck no. We will not allow another fake progressive.
I will. Yeah, I'll definitely scream.
To run in the Democratic Party that's already preparing to screw her over, steal millions of dollars from working class people, pretending like she has a chance to win, like Bernie did, pretending she's going to fight the ruling class, when in actuality, she just had the last 4 years to do a fighting the oligarchy campaign rally across the country and didn't do a...
Exactly. That's so true. Like, if you really wanted to fight the oligarchy, I didn't even think about this until Nico. Shout out to Nico, man. Nico the GOAT. You would done it during the Biden campaign. Now you're doing it because your buddy, your friend, Biden is not in power anymore. So, yeah, it's cool to fight the oligarchy when a Republican president is there. But when a Democrat in there, oh, no, I have to support Joe Biden. Technically, Joe Biden's the next FDR, and also to Jill Stein, she's not all that, which Nico about to get into, but let me continue. These people are full of shit, man.
Motherfucking thing. If you couldn't challenge the Democratic Party while they were actively financing and supporting genocide, why in the hell would we believe that you would fight on behalf of the people and challenge the Democratic Party if you were to sit in the Oval Office?
She is working tirelessly to secure a ceasefire in Gaza and bringing hostages home.
I forgot she said that shit. God. Oh my God, bro. I forgot she said that. I'm like, she working tirelessly? Like, if she won, and I don't like Trump at all, again, but I don't even think we'll have a ceasefire. I don't think we would have that little temporary ceasefire we had. Like, oh God, like, maybe I'll let it continue.
You wouldn't stand up for Tara Reid just because Joe Biden was running as a Democrat.
Well, I think a lot of what we can look for is look at the aims that the survivor is asking for. And while a lot of folks, again, are trying to jump to the political implications, she has never explicitly said, don't support Joe Biden. She hasn't explicitly said anything in terms of a political remedy that she wants. If anything, it sounds like she simply wants to be heard.
You wouldn't admit that Bernie Sanders, Tulsi Gabbard, and other candidates were getting cheated just because you didn't want to challenge the Democratic Party directly. You wouldn't call out the corrupt process for the Democratic primary this year. You went out there and spoke at a Democratic National Convention that didn't let a Palestinian speak because they were scared they were going to bring up genocide. After you, by the way, said that you know that there are a lot of people who don't even want Kamala to be a nominee, and yet you went along with it all. You didn't want to call out the Democratic Party as they were pushing to fund neo-Nazis in Ukraine. You didn't want to call out Joe Biden as he militarized the police state in ways that we had never seen before. And then you went and lied on Jill Stein because you deem her as a threat, even though you supposedly support the same progressive policies that she has advocated for.
You're not serious. You're not to me, it does not read as authentic. It reads as predatory. I'm sorry. I'm just saying it.
I mean,
and you know, there's one thing too about LC. I noticed that she uses Instagram a lot more now. Apparently, it finds out that Instagram is harder to ratio than on Twitter. Because I remember, when people start finding out that LC was full of shit, like, people ratio delivering shit out of her. See, that's why she probably would have done that on Twitter, but she knows she'll get cooked to hell and back. But she do that on Instagram on stories. Like, you can't cook nobody on stories. Like, stories, it deletes. Like, people can't screen cap shit. like no matter how much you try to avoid getting ratio, you're gonna get ratio. And second of all, like, yeah, like, you would think in a normal world that Jill Stein and LC supposedly supposed to align each other policies, white. I said white, Lord Jesus. So why are you smearing a person that's anti-war, pro-reparations, which I never even heard ALC mention reparations, pro-health, health, Medicare for all. Like, why are you smearing the person that's, for all that, why you support a guy, even before the primary, said that if Medicare for all would have magically passed, in the Congress, it gets on his desk, he'll veto it. Like, that just don't make any sense. Like, you're supposed to be a progressive. Oh God, this is why I hate labels too. Like, labels don't mean nothing. It really don't mean nothing. That's why I don't call myself a leftist. That's why I don't call myself a communist, socialist, because it don't really mean nothing. Like, I hate to say this, but Kamala Harris can call herself a leftist. She's not, but like, we're not the same. And that's one of my buddies on YouTube. He thinks that all leftists are like Kamala Harris and the Democratic Party. Like, the Democrats are not the left. Like, but hopefully he gets it. But let Nico continue.
You couldn't show a single lick of conviction while you had no power and nothing to lose, really. So why the fuck would we vote for you and give you power? How the hell would you act when you have everything to lose? So as we would say in Brazil, no caia esse golpe. Do not fall for the scam. Fool us once, shame on you. Fool us twice, shame on us. But if we let AOC fool us for a third time, it's y'all's fault. So the time to start campaigning against her is now. And what you tell people to do is invest in mutual aid. Invest in direct action. Do not support the duopoly. When they tell you, well then who would you support? Boost up third parties. Do literally anything but donate money to AOC in the Democratic Party.
Exactly. Like, guys, like, don't fall for this shit again, man. Like, please don't fall for this shit. Because it's like, it's a trap. Like, I'm pretty sure, the TYTs of the world, the calculators, the crystal balls, the majority reports, all of these big prominent channels on YouTube that's supposed to be on the left are going to prop this shit up. It just like don't fall for that shit. Like support mutual aid, support like organizing your community, man. Like, talk to your neighbors, man. Like AOC, Bernie Sanders, these motherfuckers, like, they're not gonna have power really, I hate to say, I'm gonna say it, they don't really give a shit about you, because if they did, my thing is they will break away from the Democratic Party and actually, maybe join the Green Party, or form their own third party. Like, that's, that will make more sense. But they're not gonna do that. And second of all, this is it's a trap. Um, it's a trap. Like, yeah, like the fundraising early when it's not election season, going around talking to people, going around these oligarchy tours, talking to people, giving doing all these TV appearances. Like, yeah, major, major, major red flags from the fraud squad herself, AOC.
Party. And of course, don't donate money to the Republican Party either. It's time for us to take our power back, and we're not going to gain that power through supporting fake ass leftist fucking cosplay candidates like AOC.
This is the story. 6 years ago,
all right, y'all. So I'm calling it now. AOC's running.
So, all right, guys. So, man, it's been a long stream. And also, too, I'm gonna start advertising this. Go to GazaFunds.com if you actually care about Palestinians. And also the fact that all of these GoFundMe's are verified. So if you worry about getting scammed, you're not getting scammed. Like, the money, once it's raised, it goes to the Palestinians, so that, fortunately, they can, get the help they need, and also hopefully some of them could escape, because it's diabolical down there, man. Like, the conditions down there, like, it's inhumane. Like, according to the UN, it says that, um, that, yeah, like, they have no food. Like, it's not, yeah, y'all know what's going on down there, man. Israel, they're doing the genocide and stuff like that. So again, GazaFunds.com. Oh God, yeah, right here, right, yeah, right here. I'm sorry, I'm so slow. GazaFunds.com. Um, like, if you ain't got no money, share it on your Twitter account. Like, that's all. We need more people to help out the Palestinians. So yeah, I should have talked about that at first. So yeah, Nico was 100%. He was on the money. These people, man. Like, like, just don't fall for it, man. Don't fall for the grift. It's a grift at the end of the day. Just one question too. Like, what does all this money go when they lose? It goes to the DNC. And then, on top of that, when you donate to these motherfuckers, the damn DNC send you emails. Like, you know how many emails I got when Kamala was running for president? And I haven't donated a dime to the Democratic Party since when Bernie Sanders was running. And that was a long time ago. So, yeah, it's wild, man. Like, yeah, man. Like, watch Savvy Sav, man. Watch RBN. Watch JB. Watch Do This and This. Watch Carlin's Media. Don't watch these cosplaying leftists. Don't watch these other people, man. It's just, yeah, man. So, all right, guys. That's the show. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This is probably the longest stream I did ever. No, I take that back. I think the longest stream was when we had alleged races on, talking on Tea Time. I think that's the longest. But, like, I think in terms of me doing this by myself, this is the longest. So I appreciate y'all watching this on this Monday. I hope y'all have a good day. Again, on the bottom of your screen, follow the ATP Network Twitter account. As I handle ATP Network 247. Follow the ATP Network crew. You know, we right there. We doing the work. Again, go to GazaFunds.com. Every day. If you ain't got no money to give, just share a link they got all kinds of Palestinians that need help. Share the link to their GoFundMe, man. Like, it's all verified, guys. No bullshit. And also too, like the video. It's free. It don't cost you a damn thing. So yeah, like the video. Helps. It goes a long way when you like the video. So yeah, y'all. Thank you so much for watching the Good Faith Show. I'm Andre Morton signing out. Before I go, fuck Benjamin Netanyahu.